Welcome back to 110 Daily on the 110 Sports Network. Josh Doran, Chris Brown in the correct overlay boxes. They are here with me. It's time for the divisional round in the NFL playoffs. Saturday, Sunday, 4 games this weekend. We're just going to go in chronological order. Chronological? That's not how you say that word. Chronological order. Starting on Saturday, 8 teams, 4 games, starting at 4:35 Eastern on Saturday. Rams, Packers. Josh, what are you looking for in this game? And then we'll get into predictions.
The thing I'm looking at is the Rams defense and whether they can do to the Packers what they did to the Seahawks, because this is a completely different
Beast.
challenge.
Yeah.
Not only are the Packers well balanced and not as reliant on the passing game, which is the thing that the Rams are terrific at stopping, particularly going deep down the field, aka stopping DK Metcalf. The Packers aren't built that way. They're better at running the football. And so Jared Goff's going to play, Aaron Donald's going to play, John Wolford's not. But you're banged up on both sides of the football. Your best player, your most important player in Aaron Donald, and your quarterback. There's just a lot going on here that's already putting the Rams at a disadvantage. So any formula that leads to them winning this game starts with them being great on defense, and it's just a much more difficult task against this Packers offense than the Seahawks offense that showed up last week and had shown up for the better part of the second half of the season.
Yeah, the best thing I can come up with as far as sort of a reason to believe the Rams could do it, and I'm not saying I subscribe to this. The Rams defense is built around limiting explosive plays through the air. A league low 10% of the pass plays their opponents have had this year have gone for 15 or more yards. So in other words, they're the best team defensively at stopping long plays from their opponents, long passing plays. And no quarterback threw for more yards on passes of 20 or more yards downfield than Aaron Rodgers. So there is sort of that clash as far as, right, Rodgers is the guy who throws downfield, who throws the big pass plays. The Rams defense is the best in the NFL at limiting that. That's the best I can come up with as far as sort of a reason for some Rams optimism. I'm not saying, again, I don't think it's going to be enough, because even if you really, really, really buy into that, don't have enough reason to believe the Rams are going to be able to score enough points offensively. The Packers offense can hurt you in more than one way. And I just kind of gave that Aaron Rodgers stat. He's also enters the postseason with the highest passer rating of any quarterback on throws in 2.5 seconds or less. So he's also able to make quick plays too. He's gotten
Hmm.
better this year at taking what defenses give him. So I'm not too concerned that even if the Rams are able to limit the long throws, that's going to somehow, all of a sudden Rodgers is going to be left clueless. They have other things they can do. They also rank fourth in the NFL in yards per run play this season. They've got other options. They're not going to be like Aaron Rodgers, and that offense is not going to be stumped if they can't find long passing plays. So that's one of the reasons why right, there's a chance, but I just don't see them scoring enough points. The Rams, that is, and I don't see the Packers offense being completely stumped and just completely lost because the Rams offense stops them in one or two ways.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers just like you said, Chris. It's not a terrible matchup for the Rams.
Mm.
It's just they are severely disadvantaged when it comes to talent, especially at the quarterback position with Jared Goff being banged up. And it's just a completely different task than it was against Seattle. I was worried about that matchup for the Seahawks because they have issues if DK Metcalf can't be a major factor, and the Rams have proven time and time again they can take him away.
Hmm.
It's not the end of the world if Devontae Adams doesn't have a huge game, or if he's catching 10 passes for 80 yards, all of them 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. It they've got other options. They're yeah. Aaron Rodgers knows what he's doing. He's played a million playoff games in Lambeau. This is I will I'll end with this, but there are two of these games that I feel more confident about any of them from last week, and the other two I feel less confident. And this is one of the ones I feel more confident than any of the matchups we had in Wild Card Weekend.
And then you throw in the factor that, I mean, Aaron Jones is fourth in yards, top 12 in touchdowns, and top 10 in attempts this season on the ground. So it's, even if they completely stuff the passing game, right? The Seahawks just have nobody to hand the ball to behind Russell Wilson, and Aaron Jones. While nobody's arguing that he's the best back in the NFL, when you have Aaron Rodgers having the 10th best back in the NFL, the eighth best back in the NFL, just
That'll do it.
anybody
Yeah.
that's slightly above average behind him in the backfield that opposing defenses have to scheme for a little bit, then that'll do, and that will certainly help. Real quick, so it sounds like we're all in agreement here that the Packers at home against the Rams and a banged up Jared Goff are going to be able to take care uh, of them in the divisional round.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yep. We also have Matt LaFleur is a better coach than Sean McVay, and this game is in Green Bay as points in the Packers column as well.
Well,
Whoa.
I apologize. My webcam has gone out for some reason, but I'm here. I'm gonna keep talking. We'll keep it rolling here as I try to figure out what the issue was with my webcam. But going into the late game on Saturday, Josh, I'm guessing this is one of the games you have not a whole lot of faith in. It's Baltimore 11-5 at Buffalo 13-3. Both teams winning games in fashions that, I didn't think the Bills game would be quite as close, and I didn't think that Baltimore would only score 20 points against the Titans. But both things happen. But both teams are here Saturday 8:15 on NBC. Chris, we'll start with you. Buffalo, Baltimore. What are you looking for?
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. I was really I'll just say this off the bat before I even, get to eventually revealing my pick. I went back and forth like three or four times. I'll say I went into this thinking I was going to pick the Bills automatically. Then I was almost convinced to pick the Ravens, and then I went back again. So it's a tough call for me. These are offenses that get it done in very different ways, but both ways that have been effective. Right, the Bills, it's Josh Allen and everything he's doing, the weapons he has to go to. For the Ravens, Lamar Jackson and what he did with the running game, how dynamic he can be. Um, for the Ravens, I go back and forth because the Bills offense, I don't think, pardon me, the Bills defense is not as dominant as the Ravens can be. So then you question, in my opinion, so then I'm questioning what offense I have more confidence in. And and I have to lean toward the Bills in that category. So this was one where I'm right. One question for the Bills: Can they stop? Can they stop the running game? Can they slow down Lamar Jackson to any degree? The Ravens are a bit of a good matchup in terms of defensively, trying to rattle Josh Allen a little bit. Those are some things I'm looking for. This is a really interesting matchup because these aren't teams that get it done the same way, but these are teams where I'm looking at it and I'm seeing, oh, this team has a slight edge here, this team has a slight edge here. So I won't give my pick, but this is an intriguing matchup.
And then you've also got just some fascinating narratives here where from day one, it's all Lamar Jackson can't win the big game. Lamar Jackson can't get it done in the
Right,
playoffs.
right.
You don't hear that about Josh Allen. This is just,
No.
the Josh Allen perception is very interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really a compliment.
Well, because Josh Allen until last week had never played a team that he was better than in the playoffs.
Right. And so I was going to say that's really a compliment to Lamar Jackson and what he's been able to do, that the expectation was you need to get this done because you're that good, your team is that good. We're right. Josh Allen hasn't really done that until this season. So that part of it is very interesting. And also getting Cole Beasley, who looks like he's going to be healthy, good to go, is a big deal for Buffalo, especially in this game where you have Marlon Humphrey, who can at least bother Stephon Diggs the way he did A.J. Brown and win some of the time.
And on a day that's supposed to be windy and snowy and cold, like Josh Allen throwing the football is not going to look like 40-yard passes to Stephon Diggs, right? Which is where Stephon Diggs is the most terrifying. Slot receivers are going to be really, really important in this game, and those quick out routes, those quick slants, those 7-yard pass plays that you can feel confident about making even when it's windy and cold and snowy. And also, he's just a massive part of having to worry about him underneath is part of what makes having to worry about Stephon Diggs over the top so much more hard to deal with, because you also have to deal with a guy like Cole Beasley underneath, making your life really difficult on 10 yards from line of scrimmage.
Yeah, so I'll save my pick in a second here too, but this is I am really, really intrigued by this matchup, and I had a hard time picking as well because I really think both of these teams have a chance to get to the Super Bowl, and one of them is going to end right here, obviously.
Right.
But it's a clash of styles, of offensive philosophies. This is going to be fun. I am really looking forward to this game.
I think if the Bills find a way to keep Lamar Jackson from running, the Ravens are going to have a really hard time winning this game, because it's right. This year Lamar has at least made you a little less confident in his ability to throw the football effectively, and the snow doesn't help that. Right, it'll go one of two ways. The Ravens are going to want to run the football, and that's the best way to keep the ball away from Josh Allen in that offense. Also, B, to just take care of the football when it's cold and snowy. So if they're able to run the ball, then it's going to be really tough for the Bills. But if the Bills find a way to stop or at least contain J.K. Dobbins and Lamar Jackson and not let him run for 160 yards or whatever it was against Tennessee, then the Bills are going to be in a really good spot to win this game, because if you take that aspect of their offense away, and this is true all the time, but especially true in a game like this in January in Buffalo, you make them much less effective on the offensive side of the football.
Chris, who you got?
I'm going with Buffalo. In the end, I'm going with the Bills for a couple of reasons. And again, I'm not saying that I'm super confident in this. I think this could be a close game. The Ravens could absolutely win. I think there's a chance, of course, there's a chance this goes down to the wire, in which case I'm more confident in Buffalo making a few big plays through the air, at home in particular. But I also think there's a chance this game isn't close in either direction, and I think we might be able to tell early because of what Josh just mentioned. If the Bills defense is able to limit Baltimore's running game early. If we're able to tell, like it may just be one of those things where either they are or they're not, and we can tell very quickly. Where if they're quickly, again, not limiting isn't going to be shutting down, but if they're quickly limiting them to some degree, then I could see Buffalo potentially running away with this. If all of a sudden the Ravens are coming out of the gate, running wherever they want on the ground, and just sort of running all over the Buffalo defense, I could see a scenario in which it goes completely the other direction, and the Ravens more or less run away with it. Not in it. When I say run away, I don't mean run away and are up 4 scores at halftime, but gets a significant advantage. So I think there's a good chance we might be able to tell early in this game which way it's going to go. But in the end, if it's close, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna lean on what Buffalo's approach is as being more. I'm more confident they can get it done in crunch time. So I'm going with the Bills.
I've got the Bills as well. Ultimately, I just didn't see enough from the Ravens offense to believe that they can put up the points that are going to be needed to win this game. This is a much better defense than the one they faced last week. And there's going to be that one moment where Lamar Jackson does something brilliant. They're always capable of winning because he's their quarterback. Mm-hmm. And I think that gets undervalued sometimes. And he reminded everybody of that last week. They won because they had him playing quarterback. Not that he was great, but because he can make that one play.
Right, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that they won that game because he made one play that no quarterback in the NFL can make except him.
Exactly. But Josh Allen is up there in terms of the closest, in terms of being able to just do things nobody else can. But even with that, they still, that Baltimore offense just didn't look great. And I have faith that it's not going to take 35 points to win this game, I don't think. With the conditions, with the way these teams play, the Ravens are going to eat up clock because they run the ball all the time. But I'm sticking with the Bills close.
I think I'm going that way as well. I think, right, if it's not for Lamar Jackson's 48-yard touchdown run, then we're talking about 13 points. He runs for less than 100 yards. He throws no touchdowns. He has an interception. J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards just weren't super effective. Yes, J.K. Dobbins had a touchdown, but they weren't super effective, just over 80 yards between the two of them. It looks, right, seeing what Lamar Jackson did, I just wasn't, apart from that play, blown away by that offense. And if we get that, I'll put it this way, if we need a much better version of that offense than the offense that scored 20 points against the Tennessee Titans, for crying out loud. And that's like the second to worst defense in the NFL, if not the worst. And they only scored 20 points. I mean, the Bills, certainly they're not hanging their hat on the defensive end, but they're a better defensive team than the Titans are. Oh, and they are probably, especially when Derrick Henry runs for 40 yards, they're definitely the better offensive team. They have more weapons to hurt you through the air, have enough of a ground attack to keep you honest, and they're at home. So I'm going with the Bills as well. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I don't think conditions will allow for the blowout unless, the Bills get a couple early scores and then the Ravens have a turnover and then and then the skies open up and there's 4 inches of snow on the ground by the time the game's over. So the final score is 24-3 or something. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll be close, but I'll give the edge to Josh Allen and the Bills at home. Sunday, Chiefs, Browns, 3:05 Eastern. It is laugh out loud funny to me that the Browns are playing the Chiefs in the divisional round. They're 11-5. They're the Browns. They won a playoff game. They get to play the Chiefs. It's just all none of it feels quite right. But nonetheless, the Browns did something that very few people thought they were going to have a chance to do, and that's go to Pittsburgh, win that game, and they're rewarded with getting to go to Arrowhead and play the Chiefs. Josh, what are you looking for in this one?
I mean, it's 2020, so why not the Browns?
It's also not 2020. It's 2021.
Well, 2020 season. We're still finishing up the 2020 season in which the Browns made the playoffs. So.
Sure.
Yeah, I got Kansas City by at least 7.
Okay.
I was not particularly impressed with the Browns. I know what they did was remarkable, but, I mean, the Steelers just gave them 28, 35 points. Mm-hmm. And it still was not really a decisive victory until midway through the fourth quarter. It was up for grabs at the end of the third there. Steelers make a couple more plays and get another touchdown. It's a one possession game.
Mm-hmm.
Getting Stefanski back will help, but the way that they executed last week, I'm not sure how much. Of course, it's going to be a benefit, but it's not like they were missing him horribly. They executed well and just took advantage of all of the mistakes Pittsburgh made.
Mm-hmm.
So that part of it, and just the reality that this is the Chiefs, and the last time Kansas City didn't make the AFC title game, Alex Smith was their quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is 2 for 2.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Now it's 2 for 2, but the point being, he won a Super Bowl and Tom Brady beat him in a very, very close game.
Yeah.
I can't see the Browns doing this.
I don't think this is Baker Mayfield versus the Chiefs. This is the Browns versus the defending champs. This is the Browns who got a 35 spot just for giggles last week and still found a way to make this game semi-interesting deeper into the second half than it should have been. And I'll say it again, this is Patrick Mahomes versus Patrick Beverly. I don't know why I was going Patrick Beverly. Patrick Mahomes versus Baker Mayfield. I said this a couple times last week, and I certainly wasn't as foolproof as I thought it was going to be, but it's the best quarterback on the planet right now versus Baker Mayfield and a Browns team that, like you said, Josh, I wasn't super impressed with last week, and they beat a team that I haven't been impressed with in a month and a half. So I won't. They're rested, and I think that's part of it too. They're at home. All the columns check the Chiefs for me. They really do, and I'm not going to think about it too hard. And the Chiefs are going to win this game. Give me 7. Maybe I'll tease it 9.5 or something. Have them win by 10, but I think it'll be pretty convincing. And if not, the Chiefs are going to win. If not, the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. First off, I'm pretty confident the Chiefs are not going to start the game by snapping the ball over Patrick Mahomes' head. Pretty confident. Now that I said that, it'll probably happen.
That's all right. I knocked on wood for you. You're chilling.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes, the Browns team that would be able to beat the Chiefs in this game would not have let last week's game get interesting. So I'm right there with you guys on that. I would not be surprised to see actually the Browns jump out to an early lead and have some success running the ball with the running options that they have against a Chiefs defense that hasn't been elite at stopping the running game. I would not be surprised to actually see the Browns jump out to an early lead. But, Patrick Mahomes, he's going to connect with Tyreek Hill. He's going to take advantage of Cleveland's secondary weaknesses. Even if Baker Mayfield is just flawless, that puts it in a territory where you're going back and forth, high-scoring game. I don't expect that. Even if he's flawless, I'm not picking them to outpace the Chiefs. I don't even have to keep talking. I would not be surprised though to see the Browns take an early lead in this game though. That's my mini prediction within the prediction.
I would agree with that.
And the nightcap on Sunday, Bucks, Saints, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. It's pretty, you've got young quarterbacks galore in the AFC. You've got old quarterbacks galore in the NFC. This is the, two future Hall of Famers, Bucks, Saints, in New Orleans. Chris, who you got? What are you looking for?
Boy, this was a tough one. I also went back and forth with this one as well. Right, there's the whole idea of New Orleans has won both matchups this season. They've outscored the Bucks 72-26. So is that a reason to be confident in the Saints, or is that a reason to believe the Bucks are not going to let that happen again? Depends on which way you want to look at it. Obviously, this is not the same Bucks team from before that got outscored 72-26 in the regular season. Right, they're firing on all cylinders offensively. Antonio Brown is a major factor for them now. I actually am going to give the slight edge to Tom Brady and the weapons that he has versus Drew Brees and the weapons that he has. But I think the gap there is a little bit smaller than the gap in other areas where the Saints have the advantage. I like their defense better. I like their secondary significantly better than the Bucks secondary. I have more confidence in the versatility of the Saints offense. So that's why I'm going to give it to the Saints, but oh boy, this is a close one. I think this could come down to a big play or two. This is the game I'm really I guess it's both Saturday and Sunday evening games. I'm really those are the two real big ones that I think could be really competitive down to the wire. I could absolutely see the Bucks winning. I don't have any problem. I wouldn't have any problem with that. I could see a path for that, absolutely. But they're just been balancing out those factors. I'm going to give the slight edge to the Saints.
Josh?
Give me the Buccaneers. Said I couldn't see the Titans beating Lamar Jackson 3 times in a year. I can't see any team beating Tom Brady 3 times.
I was about to say
continue.
the same thing. I was going to tell you to give me the line because I knew you were going to give it.
I'm going to stick with that. And also, Tampa Bay has the top rushing defense in the NFL. If you can make the Saints one-dimensional, that defense is good enough to limit them a little bit. If you can not let Alvin Kamara go crazy running the ball, and they're a little bit banged up, just Michael Thomas coming back, Kamara coming off the COVID list. I also, this is what I expected from the Bucks, that this Buccaneers team was going to be the better team at this point in the season. I picked the Saints to win the division. Well, that's not entirely fair because I picked the Saints to win the Super Bowl. But I thought Tampa Bay was going to be, now that I'm thinking about it, was going to be really, really good at this point in clicking the way that they are. And I've been disappointed with the Saints for the most part this season. I don't feel as good about the Saints as I did then. So I give the slight edge to the Buccaneers, but this should be, these primetime games are going to be phenomenal.
I picked the Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl last week, so I'm entitled to pick the Buccaneers to win this football game. I do think they're going to win this football game. Like you said, Josh, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a year. It's hard to beat Tom Brady. Period. To do it 3 times sounds almost laughable. I think that they're going to be able to neutralize Alvin Kamara as much as... Listen, I think we're getting to the point where the Saints are a team that you just make them... You hold... Let me try that again. You try to contain Alvin Kamara and you make Drew Brees try to beat you over the top. And I'm not sure Drew Brees is still capable of that. You make sure you're not letting Alvin Kamara get out into the flat and be a big threat in the passing game. And you play guys tight, you get a little coverage over the top, and make Drew Brees throw it over your head. And if he does it, then good for him, and maybe his career will last longer than... maybe his career won't end on Sunday. But I think that there's a pretty clear way to beat the Saints at this point when Drew Brees isn't nearly as terrifying as he used to be. And that starts with keeping Alvin Kamara under wraps, and there's not a team more well-equipped, or at least a team that is much better than this Tampa Bay team at doing that. Give me Tampa Bay and those weapons, and I'll go running with them to the NFC Championship game. All right, real quick, we're over time, but real quick, give me your either your best or most interesting game of the weekend. Just give me one of them, and then we'll get out of here. Josh, hit me.
Oh, best game, no question in my mind. Liverpool, Manchester United. This is 1 versus 2 in the Premier League. United are on top for the first time in January since Sir Alex Ferguson. Feels like forever ago. This is one of the games of the year in European soccer. I'm very excited about it. It's right there before the games start on Sunday. The NFL games start on Sunday. It's perfect timing. We're gonna learn something about Manchester United, because if they can't win this one, I can't take them seriously as title favorites or anything more than just a team that's in there mathematically as a contender. So this is gonna be good, hopefully.
Chris.
It's exciting nonetheless.
Yeah, Chris.
I'm really interested in Baylor, Texas Tech tomorrow. You have a spectacular Baylor team. Of course, that West Virginia game got postponed, so they haven't really been tested in a little while. Not that that's a real concern, but it's been a while since we've seen them play a really high-level opponent. Really interested to see what this really exciting Texas Tech team can do against them at home, of course, coming off of that huge win over Texas on the road this week. a really impressive win for them against a really, really great Texas team. Huge Big 12 ramifications on the line in this game. And the way that Texas Tech is looking right now, I could see them at home making this game really interesting at the very least.
Yeah, give me the college basketball Saturday afternoon slate. You got Ohio State at Illinois, Michigan on the road at Minnesota, Virginia goes to Clemson, and then you have the Baylor Texas Tech game, and then you get Gonzaga playing probably one of their most iffy West Coast Conference games, and that's on the road at St. Mary's. St. Mary's not a great team this year, and certainly not one of a team that has the same feel as they have in their they've started conference play with losses to Santa Clara and BYU, but there aren't very many games on that West Coast Conference slate that you point to and think, okay, maybe, but Gonzaga at St. Mary's is always one of those. So at least have a half an eye on that one on Saturday night. But yeah, the college basketball slate on Saturday is a good one for sure. Thank you for making us part of your day here at 110 Sports. We'll be back on Monday to recap everything that happened. Please enjoy the weekend, enjoy the football games, enjoy the basketball games. Stay safe, and we'll be back on Monday to talk about everything that happened. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you right back here at twitch.tv/110sports on Monday.